Hello and welcome to the Piano Man's Library. I am not the piano man. You don't want me to be, because I cannot play at all. But I do read his books. So, when my friend Ariane over at Booksellets posted her year-long bingo sheet, I decided to see how many of these books that I could fill um, just from our home library. And I came up with a huge selection of books that I do hope to read, although I'm not going to limit myself to just these books, because there's a few other things, challenges and stuff this year on BookTube that I would like to take part in. And but this will give me a really good reading year if I can get through even a significant number of them. Now, you may notice a few pink squares on the sheet. Those are the ones that I haven't books for. Although the famous shipwreck and the midwifery prompts, we do have books around here somewhere. I just haven't been able to find them. But I could not find anything that was published in Japan. I could not find a book with a notable spelling mistake in the title. I don't even know what the #1 chart book was, bestseller for September. So, but we're not into current books so much, so chances are we wouldn't have had that one anyway. I did have an ebook with a mirror in the title, but upon closer reflection of the book, I decided I just didn't want to read that one. So, and the last one that I don't have a book for is a book with a pun in the title. So, out of 52 prompts, I believe, I think I did pretty good. So, now two of the books that I do have are on Kindle, ebooks, and the first prompt was for a title in cursive. I should probably start with, I don't usually read ebooks, and when I do, they're usually free or close to free, or a free ebook when you buy a hard copy. So the one that I had for that would be If Kisses Cured Cancer, a quirky, funny love story by T.S. Hawken. The other book, the prompt was an alliteration title, and I chose for that one, or I'm going to use anyway, Healing Her Heart, a small town Christian romance from the Crystal Lake series book #1 by Laura Scott. So that is that. Now, if you want a copy of her, of Ariane's bingo card, you can go on over to Bookzellets, and I'll link that below. And you can find her video with the download for the bingo sheet. Now, to get this to this big stack of books that I do have. Okay. The first prompt that I do have is for cold. And so what I chose for this one, The Shadow of the Winter Palace. It is a Russian story, history story, about the Russian drift to revolution from the years 1825 to 1917. And this book is by Edward Crenshaw. So I thought that would be an interesting one. It has been on my TBR for a long time. The next book that I have, and if you are following along, I'm going down the columns. The next book that I have is one for a beautiful cover. So, this is the one that I chose. It's called Heroic Habits. It is the only book on this pile that I have read before. And it was very good, and it is well worth a reread. The next book that I have for you was from the prompt, the genre is not a usual read. So, for that one, I chose C.S. Lewis, The Magician's Nephew. I have not read this, much to my family's horror, because they've all read this numerous times. The next prompt here is to have the stars and stripes on the cover. And this is the Federalist Papers Revisited. So this is going to take me a little while to read, to get all the way through, although I have been advised that it won't take me nearly as long as I think it might. But if I read a little bit every day, I will get through it. The next prompt was for a female pirate. And for that, I chose this book right here, The Mammoth Book of Pirates. It does have a chapter on female pirates in here. And it actually sounds quite interesting. For the Mexico prompt, I have found a book on Mexico. So this goes into the history quite a bit more than what I know of. So that will be a very good read for me. The next book that I have is for the prompt biography, a person you disagree with. And though this isn't exactly a biography, it is Marx. It does have a short biography of him in there, but for the most part, it's just his manifesto, which basically was his life. So there's that. The next book that I have was for a night scene on the cover. And for that, and especially since I'm trying to read through all of Dickens' major works, I have Martin Chuzzlewit. It is obviously a night scene, an evening scene. He's sitting in the dark with his lamp on. So that will be a good one. The next one is a book that someone chose for me. And I had my daughter pick one for me, and of course she went with this one, Intelligence. The author is Eliza DeMille Robinson, a psychological thriller on the future of freedom. So there's that. The next prompt was gender, titles, or words. I just went with this one. Unraveling Gender, the battle over sexual difference. And then the next prompt was First Lady, and I found a book on the presidential wives. Okay. The next one was a book or story published in the 1600s. Now, for that, you could have chosen any number of different Shakespeares, but I'm probably going to read some of them anyway, so I decided to go with Don Quixote, because I really wanted to read that one too. For a book about books, my daughter actually found this one for me, How to Read Like a Catholic. So I will read that one. The next one is a one-word title. So I have found yet another C.S. Lewis book, but it's on miracles. And I can't wait to read that. The next one was a title that is a complete sentence. So, what happened at midnight? I'll have to find that out. This one is a book set in Africa. Now, this isn't specifically about Africa, but this is St. Augustine's Confessions. And he's St. Augustine of Hippo, which is in northern Africa, where he spent a great deal of his time. And this is, I believe, where he wrote this book. He lived a few other places before that on his scholarly journey, and that's a good one. The next one is flowers on the cover. They were kind of looking for a title or a character name of a flower, but I just went with the flower on the cover. And this is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I've been wanting to read this for a while. Okay. The next one was a Penguin publication, and we have quite a number of those around here, but I'm trying to read new things, different things, and this is the one that I chose. The Lay of Marie de France. So that will be interesting. Oh, this one, read sci-fi. I don't read sci-fi. But I had the Piano Man give me one of his Doctor Who collection, which I think time travel, I think that would meet that prompt. A book about mathematics is the next one. And so I'm in a battle with lighting today. This is Zero, the biography of a dangerous idea. The next book, the prompt was Cult. So, this book was recommended to me. An exorcist tells his story. Sounds cool. The next one is also a one-word title. That would be Heidi. I haven't read that either. So. The next prompt was black and white cover or words, the words in the title. And so I found this beautiful book. A Suitable Job for a Woman by Val McDermid. I think that's absolutely beautiful. The next one, I was actually surprised that I could meet this prompt. New York Times bestseller for March. Apparently, it was James. And my pile of books is falling over. Okay. I needed a book with a color in the title. So I found The Black Arrow by Robert Louis Stevenson. I've been reading him this year, and I hope to do a video of a good chunk of all his works. So stay tuned for that. The next one was an intimidating read. I don't actually think that any book is intimidating. Some people find subject matter or the size of a book intimidating, but I just think some things require a little more time. So for that one, I chose The Republic of Plato. To be honest, I have started this a few times and put it down just getting distracted. But this, I might actually get through this year if I say I'm going to do it. Okay, the next one was a mode of transportation on the cover. And my Dickens theme that I'm trying to get through is Barnaby Rudge. You'll see there are some people on horseback. A mode of transportation. Okay. The next one was a number in the title. And just happened to have Catch-22. Then we had a picture on the cover then runs off of the edge. I think this one is going off the edge. The picture of Dorian Gray. Now we have a book that's set in your ancestors' land. Now, my ancestors are from all over the globe, or at least Europe. So I chose Goethe. Oops, I don't know if you can see that. Yes. And I'm not sure if I'm going to read this actual volume, but we do have a number of other books and stuff by him. I just couldn't find them right offhand. The next one was a title with time-related words. So, Midnight at the North Pole, or Midnight to the North, I'm sorry, by Sheila Nickerson is the one that I found. The next one was about a dog or animal. And so I found this beautiful little cover from John Steinbeck, The Red Pony. This one I have not read. I have read a few others of his. I'd like to do a video about that too someday. And then we have a disaster or tragedy in the U.S. And for that one, I found a book here, The Great Chicago Theater Disaster, which the piano man tells me was significant in, resulted in the safety features put into theaters and public buildings for escape doors for fires. So that one sounds very cool. The next book I have is set in Canada, or has a person or author from Canada. And this Ellen Montgomery book, Story Girl, has a Canadian author. The next prompt had to have Latin in the title. So I pulled out this book by Pope Benedict XVI, Charity and Truth, Caritas in Veritate. I need to brush up on my Latin. He could have said that a lot better than me. Okay, the next book that I have, the object on the cover, or it contains an object on the cover that can be used as a weapon. I chose the book Charlemagne. Look at that beautiful sword. That'll be exciting. Okay, the last little stack of books. Okay. I needed to have a book published in 1925. So I found The Everlasting Man by G.K. Chesterton. And then I needed a book with a music word in the title. This one was recommended to me by the Music Man, Music and Morals. Then I needed to find a book about an unread event or person in history. Now, I have never read a book beautiful. A Portrait of Robert E. Lee through his private letters. This I could probably read in January for Epistolary January. Although I have a million others that I want to read this month too. So we'll see. The next prompt that I have is for wartime. Now I have two books for this prompt. One is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. But I'm trying to read his books through in chronological order, so I don't know if I would actually get to this book yet this year. But if I don't, I have a backup. Failure of a Mission by the British ambassador to Berlin in 1937 to 1939. This unique personal narrative reveals for the first time in dramatic detail the entire story of the coming of the Second World War. So, the next one I have the author who uses initials for his first and middle names. Well, I've already done a couple, but another one, G.K. Chesterton, St. Francis of Assisi. And then the next prompt in the final column would be short stories. So, like I said, I was reading some Robert Louis Stevenson, and so I decided to go with a number of his short stories. So we have those in here. I'm going to have an avalanche of books very soon. Hopefully I can get through this. Okay, and then the last prompt was for a translated work. And I also have two for this. The first book that I have is Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Idiot. I'm very excited for that one. I love his books. And then I also have Peter Lombard's The Sentences, Book 2. I read book 1 last year. It was great, very informative, and I can't wait to get to those. Well, thank you very much for staying tuned for this entire video. That was a lot of books, and I am very excited to dig into them in January, starting in January, and seeing how many of those I can get through in this year. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day.